Hi everyone, I'm going to change my oil and my oil filter on my Mercedes Sprinter. It's something I've been doing for the last 5 years. It's very easy and straightforward. You don't need any fancy tools really. And it's something that you are recommended to do every 10,000 miles. My old mechanic told me do it every 8,000 to give your engine a little bit of an extra life expectancy. What I'm doing is kind of common knowledge. You can Google it. You probably find YouTube videos and everything. Saying that, I'm not a mechanic, so I'm just showing you what I do. If you decide to do the same, then obviously it's on your own responsibility. I can't take any responsibility for things going wrong, but hopefully you will see some helpful tips and tricks in this video. Let's go. So you obviously will need the oil itself and the oil filter, and I've been told over the years that 5W30 low SAP is good for a Sprinter. You might want to double check that, but that's what I've been using for the last 5 years and what people keep telling me. You also need to find out how much oil your Sprinter takes. Mine takes 11 litre, so what I usually do is just buy 2 5s and a 1 litre. So you will need a funnel. That is good to actually put the oil in the van, but also to get the oil out of this box once the old oil is in here. You want to put it back in the plastic container so you can dispose of it. Just make sure there's no stuff, dirt or anything in the actual funnel when you're going to use it, because you don't want that in your engine. And make sure that the actual container is low enough to actually go under the van itself. Okay, a couple of rags, really good to actually clean up. It can get a bit messy, and also it's good to kind of plug certain areas of the van as you're working with it to make sure there's no rubbish going in. This is just normal camping underlay thing which I'm lying on when I'm getting under the van if it's wet outside or whatever it is. A couple of gloves, disposable gloves, just to make sure that we don't get any oil on our hands. It's not very good for you. With regards to tools, a kind of home ratchet set should do the trick. I'll show you what parts of it to use for the different kind of stages of changing the oil. The only thing that's a bit specialized is this oil filter removal tool, which is something you can order via Amazon or eBay. I'll probably stick a link at the bottom, but as far as that goes, that's the only kind of specialized tool you will need. So what you want to do is find a flat area to park at. If you can't find a perfectly flat area and have a little bit of gradient, then keep your nose, the front of the van, the direction that points down a bit, so that the oil goes into the lowest point of the engine. Keep the van running for roughly 5 minutes just to kind of make the oil hot. It will then come out so much quicker, and you probably get more of the old oil out as well. That's the oil drain bolt. It's a metric 13 on your ratchet set. That's the one we're going to remove, and it has a little copper washer here. So as we are screwing it out, we just make sure that that copper washer is coming with us, because if we drop that into the plastic container, it's really messy to get it out again. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just losing it, and then I'm going to put the container in place, and then I'm going to slowly screw it out and make sure I have the copper washer with me. Okay, so there we go. The plastic container's in place. I'm screwing out the bolt, and the oil's going to shoot out here any second. And there comes the oil. And now I'm just going to let this drain for 5-10 minutes to make sure this goes. So as you can see, I caught the copper washer here as well, because you don't want that to fall into the container itself. Time to remove everything that I need to remove to be able to remove the oil filter, the old oil filter, and also to be able to top up with new fresh oil at the same time. So all I need is a Phillips screwdriver and a normal flathead screwdriver as well. Flathead is for this pipe up here, and the Phillips is for a screw that's under here that will help me take some pieces off that I need. Everything else is fairly straightforward. So what we'll start with doing is taking the air filter box hose off, sitting on the left side. It sits with a normal kind of tube clamp, which just need to be unscrewed, and then once that's off, you can then pull that pipe off. After that, you have a couple of electrical couplings that all sit with just a little clip, so you can unclip it without using any tools, just with your hands. And once that's done, it's then the air tube on the right hand side, which once again comes out very easily. I then unhook the oil pipe thing on the right hand side that oil will be put into later on, and then just pull up the actual air filter box and put it to one side. This is when I use the Phillips to unlock the Phillips screw that holds the oil pipe into the engine, and once that's been removed, I just rest it on the side, remove the plastic engine cover, which is just pulled straight up, and once that's done, I then put a little bit of a rag into the hole itself, because it's open now and I don't want anything to actually go into the engine itself. That would be really bad. So once that's plugged, then it's time to get the actual oil filter out. And that is when I use the ratchet set and the actual oil filter tool. I will leave a link in the description to where you can get this tool on Amazon. Put the tool in place, hook it in with the ratchet, and then just anti-clockwise open it up as you would do with a tap or any other bolt. Once you take this out, be aware that it might be a bit messy, so you want to get it away from the engine as quick as possible. Put it somewhere where it won't make too much of a mess. Once the oil filter is out, it's time to unpack the new oil filter. It consists of 3 seals, 3 new rubber seals, and the filter itself. So you start with just pulling the old filter off by pulling it straight out. And if you want to give it a little bit of a wipe, and then start getting the 3 seals, rubber seals off, because we're going to replace them with the new seals that comes with the oil filter itself. And just keep an eye on where those seals sit, so you know where to put the new seals. It's a small seal, a mid-sized seal, and a very large seal. So there is no doubt of which seals should go where. You can put a little bit of oil onto the actual seal just to make them go on easier, and also prevent them from drying out. Once you put the last of the rubber seals in place, it's time to put the actual filter on. There's no right or wrong way, you just need to slide it on and push it in and make sure that it sits tight. Then it's time for it to go back onto where it sat before. So we just reverse everything we've done, put the filter in place, and then use the ratchet tool to clockwise put it back in place again. Make sure that we tighten it hand tight, doesn't have to be too hard. We need to make sure we can get it off at some point as well, not too loose, so just hand tight. We can now take the rug off, put the plastic cover back on again. And when that's in place, put back the oil hose that we will use to top up the oil with when everything is back in place again. That's when we use the Phillips. Once that has been put in place and tightened, we will then start putting back the air filter box, the air filter hoses, left and right side, and all those electrical connection points that we removed. We just click them back in place. Tighten everything up and make sure that everything is sitting where it needs to be. By now it's just a tiny stream of oil coming out, so I think it's safe to say that I'm gonna put the oil drain plug back on again, and I'm gonna top it up with some new oil. Don't forget the little copper ring when you put it back on again. Tighten the bolt back up again. Just hand tight it again. We can now use the funnel and just place it where the oil goes in. And I've notice that if I remove the dipstick as I'm filling the oil, it tends to go a little bit quicker for the oil to get into the engine. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll add 10 litres, and when the 10 litres have been added, I make sure that I wipe off the oil stick, dipstick, and then we'll do a test. You can see here, so it's just at the top of the stick, so we're going to use a little bit more oil. Don't forget to dispose of your oil in the right place. Personally, I can give it to a friend who has an oil heater in his house, so he can actually use it, so it's a kind of a win-win situation. So that's it, job done. The last thing to do is to start the van up, just making sure that it sounds okay. Run it for a couple of minutes. If it sounds okay, then it probably is okay. What you also want to do is take a reading of your current odometer reading, so that you can repeat this when you've done another 8,000 miles or 10,000 miles, if you prefer to do that instead. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more DIY stuff around Sprinter vans, then feel free to subscribe. If there's things I could have done in different stages or different altogether, then please comment and let me know. I'm always up for learning new things. So that's about it. Enjoy. Thank you.